going on, Jerome's? So, yes, Saturday was extremely frustrating as the Vikings gave away another game they should have won, just like the Bears game, just like the Broncos game. Frankly, just like the Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, and Buccaneers. But now, it's almost, I don't know if it's good or bad that the Vikings haven't gotten their ass kicked. It's whatever. But your Vikings still at 7-7, still firmly in the playoff places, currently the 6th seed in the NFC, pending tonight's game against the Eagles and the Seahawks. But you know, it's been a very weird season, but the Vikings are still in the fight and get in the dance. You got a chance, and this team can be dangerous. Dangerous to themselves or the other team, who knows, on a given day. But here are 10 truths about the 7-7 Vikings. Truth number 1, Vikings need to resign Kirk. So you look at, especially the Raiders game and the Bears game, is just the lack of vertical passing game was just ridiculous. And what really sucks is that, hey, if Kirk was healthy and JJ is good to go, I mean, with Addison and Hawkinson, this offense would be one of the best in the league. And paired with the Flores defense, which, if Bengals fourth quarter notwithstanding, is quickly becoming one of the most interesting in the league, I mean, the Vikings will be top dog. And yes, you could say, well, the Vikings had Kirk the first 5 weeks of the season. Fully understand that. But this team right now is way different than the team at the beginning of the season, as it usually happens throughout the year. But I don't know. And I think that Kirk realizes that the Vikings are a great spot to be in, especially if they keep the parts together on offense and the defense continues to improve. Maybe Flores sticks around for another year. And I think the Vikings understand that they're not going to do better than Kirk for 2024, and also re-signing Kirk to, say, a 2-year deal does not preclude them from seeing if Jaren Hall is going to be the future, or drafting a quarterback high to be the future quarterback TBD. So, I don't know. Like, I think right now, it's probably like a 90% chance that Kirk is back in purple in 2023. Next up, number 2, pay Danielle. And that's what it comes down to, man, where Danielle Hunter, he is one of the best edge rushers in the game, if not the best. 15.5 sacks this year, second in the league, leading the league in tackles for loss, plays the run, and is a perfect fit for the current scheme. And he adapted from being a 4-3 hand-the-dirt defensive end. So what more do you want? And Danielle, 29, he still has 3, 4, 5 years of his prime firmly left, and he's a great leader. Not a rah-rah sis boom ba shouting type of leader, but he's a type of guy who leads by example and absolutely gets it done. What more do you want? Like, you do not get better by letting premium players in their prime at premium positions leave. And yes, it's going to cost a lot. Probably going to cost you 23, 24, 25 million bucks per year. And yes, you got to pay JJ. Yes, if Kirk comes back, you got to pay him. Yes, Darisaw is eligible. Yes, fully understand that. Don't care. Bring back Danielle. Number 3, Kevin O'Connell's play calling needs to be questioned. It does. And I think that Kirk Cousins covered up a lot of sins for Kevin O'Connell. Now, I fully understand. It's like, Bo, you have Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins and Jaren Hall. I get it. But show me where, even with a reduced level of play at quarterback, how they shouldn't have beaten the Broncos. The play calling at the end is ridiculous. How they couldn't have beaten the Bears, especially when Metellus got you back that fumble and you had first down wins the game. Like how, why? And then the Bengals. We'll get to the multiple tush pushes, but overall, like, the offense was good until it wasn't, and it isn't a spot where, hey, Kevin O'Connell can't script a game plan. Kevin O'Connell can't make in-game changes. But specifically, end of game management, and short yardage play calling, there's a lot of questions. And I know that people just want to paint with a broad brush, like, well, he went 13-4, won the division last year. Doesn't matter. Like, do you want to do better than that? Kevin O'Connell has to improve in these areas, or he has to decide, does he want to be the OC with the challenge flag, or does he want to be the head coach and potentially pass off offensive play calling? Who knows, man. Next up, number 4, Ty Chandler needs to be RB1. So first 100-yard rushing game for a running back for the Vikings since, like, prime Dalvin. But Ty Chandler, he's young. He's got that burst. Well, he's actually not young. But he's got that burst. He's a great receiver, and he can run with a little bit of power between the tackles as well. That's what you need. And Madison, like we said, is a rock-solid, well-rounded running back. He does not have that extra gear that Ty Chandler does. And the Vikings, they got to get this running game out of the doldrums, and having a guy who has a chance to hit a home run every time he touches the rock is something that you need in the lineup. Next up, number 5, stop the tush push with Bradbury and Powell. And also, the explanation that Kevin O'Connell had, coming out, he was going to call timeout, and he wanted to keep the Bengals in personnel up against 11 personnel. It's just ridiculous. Like, hey, get the first down. You're about 10 yards away from field goal range, not even that, and just go from there. But it's ridiculous. First off, Bradbury is not a tush-push center. Like, he's not a guy that's going to completely move and submarine and nose tackle. He ain't going to do that. And Nick Mullins ain't Jalen Hurts. Like, Nick Mullins, I'm sure, is fine, but he's not squatting 600 pounds. And Brandon Powell is the smallest guy on the team. It's ridiculous. Not only did he do it once. I mean, sure, do it once. Maybe they don't expect it because it's really stupid to do. The Bengals and Lou Anarumo and the Bengals were just sitting there. Like, there's no way they're going to try and tush push it behind Garrett Bradbury, one of the lightest centers in the league, and one of the smallest guys in Brandon Powell. No way they do that. But no way they do that twice. And again, it goes back to Ty Chandler. How do you not give Ty Chandler one chance? It's ridiculous. I hate it, man. Next up, number 6, J.J. and Addison are the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. Now, Addison had his second 100-yard game of his career, 2 touchdowns. He's got 9 on the season. J.J. is obviously Justin friggin' Jefferson, and I can't wait, first off, for the Vikings to ink up J.J. long-term, but to see J.J. and Addison grow and show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, here's the thing, too. Say the Vikings don't re-sign Kirk. Free agents or quarterbacks that may want to force a trade. I mean, Minnesota looks really damn good with that offensive line. Offensive-minded head coach Kevin O'Connell, even though he can't call short yardage plays late in games. And J.J. and Addison and Hawkinson, I mean, it's a pretty sweet destination. Or if you're a quarterback in the draft and you want to pull an Eli or John Elway, just really force your way to a certain team, could be a spot, man. Next up, number 7, the defense will rebound. Now, I fully understand. The graphics completely screwed over the Vikings. Like, oh, the Vikings haven't given up a touchdown in this many drives, and then 3 straight to end the Bengals game. Fully understand that. And is a spot where you say, like, well, Zach Taylor solved the Flores defense. Nah, I just think it was awesome performances by Jamar Chase before he got hurt. That 3rd and 21, T. Higgins, like, skying up for that rebound and just getting the ball into the friggin' end zone past the pylon, right? And also, you need to work on quarterbacks with weak arms and agendas and vendettas who just throw up YOLO balls and gets credit for them. Okay, Drake Browning. But the defense will be fine. Like, also, since there's more and more tape out on the Flores defense, I mean, they got to adjust, and Flores will, and I'm confident that they certainly will get back on the horse. Next up, number 8, Vikings need a nose tackle. That's the thing, too, where we've always said it. Harrison Phillips is a very good defensive tackle. I don't like him on the nose in a 3-man front because he's not your traditional nose, and he's played his ass off. Same thing with Jonathan Bullard, but it's not enough. And the Vikings need to bring in a 350-pound nose tackle. Tavondre Sweat from Texas is my guy. He's my absolute crush right now. And, I mean, you saw what happened. Like, Mixon only had 47 rushing yards, except almost all of them were up the middle. And when they needed yardage, down in the red zone, short yardage, they're just able to punch the Vikings in the mouth, right up the middle. All right, so have yourself a guy who's not going to allow the line of scrimmage to be reset, and that's what you need. Next up, number 9, Christmas Eve is the Alamo. So Vikings on Sunday against the Lions. It's basically the season. It is. Now, the Vikings, ironically, if they get swept by the Lions, but they still beat the Packers, they still have a very decent shot to make the playoffs, even at 8-9, pending on other games. But the Vikings, if they beat the Lions and the Packers at home, again, 2 home games against division rivals, they have a 99% chance to make the playoffs. All right, so and everything else will take care of itself. So, I mean, Sunday is it. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, it would have been nice to beat the Broncos or the Bears or the Bengals, but you didn't. And again, you can't change the past, so accept reality on reality's terms. And you got to beat the Lions. And the Lions, yes, they look good against Denver. Cool. But they got beat by the Bears. They should have gotten beaten by the Bears at home. We don't know what that's like. And also the loss to the Packers, who are ass. Thank you. So, frankly, I think that Sunday is going to be a great game. I think the Vikings have a very damn good shot at beating the Lions, and I think that even if the Vikings and the Lions match up as the 6-3 in the playoffs, bring it. Absolutely bring it, man. There you go. Lastly, number 10. Vikings still control playoff destiny. Like we said, beat the Lions, beat the Packers, and everything else will take care of itself, right? And yes, there will be a little bit of scoreboard watching. Rams play the Saints and whatnot, but just take care of your business. Just take care of your business, and everything will sort itself out. Just beat the Lions at home, beat the Packers at home, and then let the chips fall where they may. So go from there. So again, I know a lot of people are very upset about that Bengals loss, and yes, it would have been nice to be 8-6 versus 7-7, but it is what it is, right? And hopefully Kevin O'Connell will learn from it. Hopefully Mullins will learn from it, not leave 6-14 freaking points on the board before halftime. And we'll go from there. But that's it. That's at 10 truths about the 7-7 Minnesota Fighting Vikings. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.